How I got played and played myself at a toxic job. So, if you want to know what I'm talking about, tune into this video. If you don't know me already, I'm Dr. Kamani. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, a toxic job survivor, and more importantly, I'm a toxic job liberator for Black women. On my channel, I focus on ways to support Black women leaving and healing from toxic jobs. So, I'm going to be very transparent in this video. I like to share with you about my own experiences in a toxic job in terms of lessons learned. So I'm going to share with you how I got played because it's important for us to know there's some things that happen that sometimes we're not too happy about. But I know that by sharing my story, I can hopefully help you, that you don't fall into these same situations where you play yourself or you get played. So, one is I went to HR. So I went to HR to get support, and you may try to do this too. So I was brought up to believe that when you go to HR, they're there to support you, and you have issues, and you're going to them for get support. That was number one, how I got played. So I went in, had a meeting, and when I went in, I should have known something was wrong. And I felt it in my spirit that something was wrong, but I kept going. So if you know something in your spirit is wrong, as you try to talk to HR, pay attention to that. So let me tell you what happened with me. So I had a meeting, an initial meeting with one person within HR. And when I met with him, when he greeted me, he said, "Oh, I have two of my other colleagues who want to join us in the meeting." He said, "Is this okay?" And I said, "Okay," because again, I'm thinking, "Oh, well, they're there to support me, whatever." I was walking into an ambush. I didn't know it. I didn't recognize it. Even though in my spirit it didn't feel right, I said, "Okay." And when I walked into that room, it was a nightmare. And I could see the way they were looking at each other. And I said, "Oh, I'm being set up here." That's exactly what happened. I was being set up. So that's the first thing I got played. I went to HR. I wasn't prepared when I went to HR. Now that I'm on the other end as a toxic job survivor and liberator, I have talked to so many people in HR and I've learned so many different things so that you are prepared. So if you choose to go to HR, it's very important that you have your documentation together, your timeline, and that you have certain things in mind. You know what the purpose is of you being there. And you also are very clear that HR is there to protect the company. It's not there to protect you. So that was my first mistake. That's how I got played because when I walked into that room, I knew that they had already talked to the workplace bully. They were already working against me. Didn't recognize at the time, but okay, now I know. So I'm sharing this with you. So that was the first way I got played. The second way I got played was I started going down different rabbit holes. And I talked to you about this a lot about avoiding rabbit holes. So something might happen and it might be something that somebody said about you, or it was some misinformation, or there's something that's not quite right. So you're trying to get clarity and you're trying to meet with people and you're going down all these rabbit holes. I got played that way too, because the more I would go down rabbit holes, they would go nowhere. They would go nowhere and they would do this thing with me. This is the second thing. So the rabbit holes, but they did this technique with me that I didn't recognize it after the fact, but I'm sharing this with you in the event that you're in a situation like this. So was going down rabbit holes. There's a lot of things that happened. My full story, if you want to see the full story of what happened to me in a toxic job, then check out the video where Stephanie Perry interviewed me for Black women leaving toxic jobs, and also Glamazini interviewed me too. So those videos are in the description section. So what I want to do is, again, share with you different things that I've gone through, and I'm going to do like short snippets in terms of different ways I've gotten played in situations, but I'm going to turn this into a lesson learned for you. So I was in a situation, a toxic job, and going down rabbit holes, trying to get clarity, all that other ridiculous stuff, which went nowhere. But they played me with this. So they said, "Okay, well, we hear your concerns. Let's have a meeting." So it was the supervisors involved. I had the union there with me, and we're having this meeting. And this is what they did. This is technique. So I call it the game clock timeout, like letting the game clock run out. Okay, this is what they did to me. So they let me talk. They let the union representatives talk. They let us take up the majority of the conversation. They would ask like little questions here and there, but you already knew that they knew the answer. So they were like playing us. They were playing us. So we're sharing information. We think we got a case. We're going at it, blah, blah. So they let the game clock run out because towards the last 5 minutes, right? So once they've heard everything, then they give their decision. And it was like, we've made a decision and it's no way to go back from this. We made this final decision. They played us the whole time. They already knew what they were going to do when they came into the meeting, but they played us by making us think that we had a voice, that they were there to listen. They were there to, consider what we had to say. They did not. They did not. So again, they let the whole game clock run out and we were just whatever. Okay. So that's the other thing. The last thing in terms of how I played myself and how I was played and how I played myself was that I trusted people who were not worthy of my trust. So you may encounter this too in your environment. And that's why I'm so clear when I say to you, be very mindful of what information you share with colleagues. You might be cool with these people. You may gossip with them, all these other things. Be very mindful because that information that you're sharing, you're thinking, I'm sharing stuff, they're sharing stuff. Because they're going to take what you're saying and they're going to leave out what they said. And that information is going to go into rooms that you're not in. And you will find out later that people whom you may have thought were cool with you, that you all were talking, you all on the same page about stuff, you may find out that they have done things to betray you. They were not there to support you, all of these things. So just keep these things in mind. Again, I just want to be very transparent with you that, yes, I'm on the other side. I'm still healing from a toxic job, but I also want to share with you just very honestly about ways that I got played and played myself in a toxic job. So, of course, if I was ever in a situation like that again, I would not do these things, but I didn't know, just like you may not know. So my hope is that you listen to what I'm sharing with you, that you do not allow yourself to get played like I got played. And even though I'm on the other side and I sometimes think about these things like, why did I do that? That wasn't smart. But I wasn't informed. I wasn't informed. And so I have to practice for myself self-forgiveness and say, you know what, you didn't know. And let's just move on. You're not in that place now. And to say that for yourself too. You might be in a situation at your job, toxic job. You may be there or you may have left. And you may be beating yourself up about stuff. Release that. Don't beat yourself up. It goes nowhere. Practice self-forgiveness. Recognize it's lessons learned. And you might be able to share those lessons learned with other people too, just like I'm doing with you. Okay. So as I'm signing off, please give this video a thumbs up. Also share this video with at least 2 other Black women. And if you have not already subscribed to my channel, please do so. Lifting As We Climb Consulting Wellness Services. Okay. See you later. Don't get played, sis. Okay. Bye.